university. Now, I don't know if you want to call it avocation, I am a conspiracy writer and researcher. I have for many years published a magazine called Steam Shovel Press, and I am well known. There's a Wikipedia page on about me. I've got like 15 books in print discussing what I call parapolitics and what the media tries to deride as conspiracy theory. I've been an advocate for taking this whole line of research seriously. So when a major conspiracy researcher gets off and his papers are kind of dropped in your lap,
right,
it's just a natural consequence that I would go out and try to figure out what it was all about. So in the course of that, I discovered Michael Riconosciuto. And in studying Michael Riconosciuto, I discovered Marshall Riconosciuto, and then got involved in the whole Chrisman thing from there. So that's how my involvement.
Okay, so but before all this, how did you come to start in this field in the first place?
Well, that goes very far back in my life. Actually, I was just by nature an avid reader, and read a lot of conspiracy material. Was introduced to the writings of Mae Brussell. You probably know Mae Brussell.
Of course,
sure do.
Amazing. Yeah, and when she died, there was another one major conspiracy magazine at the time called Critique that the publisher joined a cult and just totally transformed that into some ridiculous little publication. Mae Brussell had died, and it dawned on me that the whole conspiracy movement, which is always kind of suppressed and oppressed by the mainstream culture, was just about ready to disappear.
Yeah.
In order to save it, I had to do something, and that's how I created Steam Shovel Press, and that led to my book writing. And it's just
and you probably know of Dave Emery.
Oh, Dave Emery, yeah, I used to talk to him all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he was carrying the torch, I thought, for a while from Mae Brussell.
Well, it's famous, actually, among people who look at this stuff, that the Brussels sprouts are what they're called.
Yeah.
Dave Emery was one camp, and John Judge was the other. John Judge is still very, very active currently. He runs something called the Coalition on Political Assassinations out of Washington, D.C., and they do annual conferences in Dallas and in L.A. for RFK and in Memphis for Martin Luther King. And they're constantly lobbying in D.C. for the release of more and more records that connect to all the conspiracy, all of the
and people should know that May was the first person back before, when it was very dangerous, to say there was something wrong with the Kennedy assassination situation. She was one of the, she died of natural causes supposedly, but still, she was very gutsy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. She lived in Carmel, California, and of course, people wonder about those natural causes of her death.
Right.
And she was, she's the source of inspiration for the
for the
whole movement.
Why is the Danny Casolaro story called the Octopus?
Well, the Octopus was the name that he gave it. He was studying a power cabal that formed after World War II. Basically, an international criminal organization, a power bloc that subverts governments and kind of runs the world outside of elections. So,
what were the elements of that criminal organization? Were they former Nazis? Was it a drug cartel? I mean, who were the criminals?
Well, it was all of those things. There's a section in the book, the Octopus book, that we finally put together, which I should hasten to say is not the book that Danny Casolaro was writing. I didn't finish his book. I put as much of his book as he had finished in the book and told his story. But there's a whole chapter that we call the hagiography, in which we go through the biographical elements of all of the major players of the Octopus and how they interlock. It's almost everything that you just said: former Nazis, drug cartels, all of that kind of thing.
And fascists. Isn't there an organization in Italy that is an arm of this? They did a series about it on TV. It's the Black something, or the only thing that comes to mind is in Italy. There's a criminal organization that's like the Octopus thing.
Was it the Black Hand?
Not sure.
Which was
or Black September or something like that.
Those are
Yeah. The thing is, it's what distinguishes Castellero's thing is I mean, there are all kinds of criminal groups out there. There's the mafia and all that other stuff. Is there central control, a central global control?
Right.
And the support that Castellero was looking into for that was the existence of something called Promise, of an extremely advanced software package that could track criminal elements or political dissidents from a Justice Department office to Justice Department office or whatever. Not only track them, but extrapolate their next move.
This was because this was a piece of software that was sort of like a Trojan horse, correct?
Right. It had a backdoor capacity. And what happened is that this powerful software was sold to police agencies throughout the world, to the Mossad, to Interpol, to the Savak, and when it was sold to them, they bought it just because they could track, but it had a back door so that our Central Intelligence Agency, our CIA, or our extra intelligence agency, our Octopus, could track the police agencies who were tracking the other people.
Right.
And what the central story that Castellero was focused on was how this program, which was developed by a company called Inslaw, was actually stolen from Inslaw and given to a crony of Ronald Reagan, a guy named Earl Bryan, who actually spent some time in prison for this. But he was given to him, and he profiteered from the Inslaw invention, the Inslaw software. He's the one who sold it to these agencies and made the money for it. He was given it as supposedly, according to Castellero, as a reward for his role in the October surprise. Of the 1980 election, where the Reagan team made a deal with the Khomeini people to hold on to the famous hostages until after Carter lost the election. Earl Bryan received Promise to profiteer from as his reward for delivering the payoff for that agreement.
Well, is Michael related to Promise at all?
Michael developed Promise. He developed helped to develop Promise. Helped to develop all kinds of weapons, from shoulder-fired missiles to those kind of glasses that you can see in the dark.
Night vision goggles.
Night vision goggles. Right. He did all this on the sovereign territory of the Cabazon Indians in
sovereign
California,
territory.
And there was a whole series of murders that involved the leadership of the Cabazon Indians, and that was another part of Castellero's investigation.
Now, was Michael ripped off when Promise got loose?
I have never heard him say that or make a claim that he's owed money for that. I mean, he's been in jail. He was busted on some trumped-up methamphetamine lab charge, I think, and he's been in jail for as long as I've known of him.
That's right. And that is one of the things. This guy is still rotting away in jail for something, and he's the guy who invented the piece of software that everybody made money on. That's basically the Castellero story. And again, his father was a business partner to Fred Krisman, who and he told me. He also said to me, there's an interview in the back of one of the books, I guess it's in the back of the Maury Island book, my interview with Riconosciuto specifically about Maury Island. He says that Fred Krisman wrote like a 1,500-page memoir, and Riconosciuto knows where it is. It's supposedly locked away somewhere. You're talking about a piece of gold.
Wait. Now, is Steam Shovel Press an actual press?
Steam Shovel Press is the name of a magazine, yes.
Right, but is it also a press?
I'm sorry?
I mean, are you also a publisher as well?
Yes. I publish Steam Shovel. Yeah.
Okay,
but I don't. But none of my books are published by me. And none of my books are self-published. They're all.
I know that.
I wanted to ask you about
that.
Yeah.
Because it's Feral Press that.
The current book, the book we're discussing here, is called. Here's the formal commercial. JFK and UFO, Military Industrial Conspiracy and Cover-Up from Maury Island to Dallas. And it's Feral House, Feral House. That's Adam Parfrey's famous kind of bad boy publishing operation.
Right.
And you can order it through feralhouse.com.
So that's not. I thought you were connected with Farrell House as a publisher also.
No, just as a writer.
Just as a writer.
I'm an old friend of Adam Parker's.
And is Farrell connected with Amok? Remember Amok?
Yes. The Amok catalog. Adam Parfrey, again, Adam Parfrey is like a well-known figure in, what do we used to call ourselves? The Marginals Press. The underground press. And he was with Amok, and he left Amok, and he founded Farrell House.
Yeah. Well, Bill's writing partner at the time was Joel Norris, who was kind of a real fan of your presses and all your work. And I don't know whether Joel Norris submitted anything, but he became, known for serial killers. But what I was going to say though, Ken, is that if you can get those memoirs, you should publish it yourself if you could.
Really, yeah, that's kind of the way a lot of things. The whole print-on-demand thing has revolutionized what people actually do with their writing now. And
but this would be such a thing. I mean,
it may not exist. The thing about anything that Michael Riconosciuto says is all part of some kind of. And I'm not even going to say it's a scheme because he certainly has a legitimate interest in getting out of jail. But he'll say, and I'm sure he'll say anything to anybody that will help him to do that.
Well, is he an intelligence guy himself? What is his profession? I mean, what are his bona fides?
Well, he's again, he was. I've got a photograph of him from when he was 14 years old, and he was working with Arthur Shallow, the Nobel Prize-winning guy for laser physics. So at a very young age, he was a technical whiz. Now, what his actual official education is, I'm not sure. Like I said, because he's been kind of like one of these super geniuses who exist on the periphery, a guy you go to for tech solutions and that kind of thing.
Wasn't he involved, Ken, wasn't he also involved in the development of a certain kind of radar unit that was supposedly a very powerful radar that could defeat electronic counter-warfare stuff?
Probably so. Probably so.
Because one of the fascinating things about that is that as the United States and other governments, Soviet Union obviously, moved into electronic warfare, the idea of more powerful types of radar that can exist on the edges of the band, picking up stealth aircraft that were designed for more conventional types of radar became extremely valuable.
Right. Well, the origins of the Promise software actually go back to Vietnam. There's something called Operation Phoenix.
Yes.
That's when Inslaw started developing this kind of thing. And one of the things that the story is that it's been responsible for are the imagery that we get from satellites now. That it's so common, but the idea that you could get that kind of detailed imagery from the Echelon satellite system of all the cities and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
That's part of. The information that they extract, the visual information that they extract, is somehow run through the Promise software, which can extrapolate from what little information they have to create a more concrete picture. It's that extrapolation capacity that gives us the ability now to, and Google Earth is what I'm talking about. And
yes.
The capacity that you have at your laptop where you just sit down. Imagine what the capacity that the Pentagon has way in advance of that.
Well, we
encountered
that on UFO Hunters for the episode that never aired. That kind of a platform over Las Vegas, being able to read our license plate and scrub our text and know exactly what we were doing, and then after we left, it came back up again after it camouflaged itself. But so tell us more about Marshall Riconosciuto and Fred Crispin and their relationship, and kind of bring us forward to how Fred Crispin got wrapped up in the Kennedy assassination.
Well, all right. Well, starting there, Jim Carrison supposedly received. Well, he did receive, and I reproduce it in the book, an anonymous letter that says that talks about Crispin and makes the claim that Crispin is connected to Clay Shaw. Clay Shaw is the figure who actually gets prosecuted by Garrison. He's the central figure. He's Tommy Lee Jones in the Oliver Stone movie, And but Garrison made the point, and Oliver Stone makes the point that Clay Shaw was just the toehold. He was just the person they had enough to